in how radical it is. And I'm not using radical in a pejorative sense. I would say that Ronald Reagan was a radical president. He changed the course of American history in a certain direction. And I think Obama is that kind of president. Whether he will succeed or not, I don't know. Reagan did. And in some ways, you could say Obama's mission is to undo Reaganism, what Reagan had achieved, which was shrinking the government, lowering taxes, restoring a sense of American power and influence in the world. But Obama has a vision which I think is really quite interesting and almost unique, at least in recent American history. I think he wants to rewrite the social contract, as it were, that relates the government to the individual. And we look at it in several elements that he's spoken about over and over again. But generally speaking, as a theme, I think the way to understand Obama is this man really is a community organizer. He really is a man who wants to level the differences between the classes, between the rich and the poor, the have-nots in America. Not through socialism, but as I'll describe, through what I would call a kind of social democratic model that is a lot like the European system. And in that way restore what he sees as equity and fairness in American life. He sees Reaganism as having radically increased the inequalities in American society, the gap between the rich and the poor. And he sees part of his mission, or perhaps the largest part of his mission, as restoring what he would see as the basic fairness of American life that was jeopardized by the kind of wild capitalism, as he would interpret it, introduced by the Reagan Revolution in the 1980s. And just one small sample of how he revealed himself in that way. During the campaign, there was a primary campaign debate by ABC News who had Charlie Gibson chair. And Gibson asked him a very interesting question. He said, you have recommended raising the capital gains tax. But some economists have shown that when you raise the tax, you actually decrease the revenue the government gets. Would you still raise the capital gains tax if in the end it's a net loser for the government? And he gave a remarkable answer. His answer was essentially, yes, I would, because of the fairness issue. It's not fair that a financier in New York will pay the current rate of 15%, while a worker in the Midwest has to pay income tax at a much higher rate. And even if instituting a higher rate on the capital gains tax would reduce revenue, he would do it anyway. That shows you a man for whom fairness, as he sees it, or a narrowing of the gap, is the overriding value that he wants to bring back into government. And you see it in the three issues he talks about over and over again. He talked about it in his address to the joint session of Congress and in just about every major speech he's given.